Okay, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Hold on. Alright, hi and welcome to session 10 of the Logist and Linguistics Club. So I'm Lucy and we'll just start right now. Okay, so a quick review of the Linguistics Olympiad. NACLO is a North American Computational Linguistics Open Competition, and it's the competition that determines which students get into the IOL, which is the International Linguistics Olympiad. So if you haven't signed up yet, you should soon because I'm not sure exactly when the deadline closes, but the test will officially be on January 26th of 2023. And there are a lot of ways to prepare for NACLO. You can take a foreign language class, you can check out a linguistics textbook or the handbooks, and there are a bunch of practice problems, as well as this link for the workshop that Zara is teaching. So I will send all three of these links in the chat so you guys can access them. Okay, so I'm just gonna get right to the problems because they're a bit hard today. So okay, so the old man, the boat. Ambiguity in sentences can be a source of humor. For example, flies can be a noun or a verb, and light can be a verb or a preposition, resulting in the amusing juxtaposition of. So, for example, time flies like an arrow. Um, it doesn't literally fly, but it acts as a verb, and like acts as something to connect time flies and an arrow. But you could also say fruit flies, which is an actual thing, which is a noun, like a banana. So for this puzzle, we have to look at the ambiguity in the parts of speech. So that would be noun, verb, adjective, adverb, and prepositions, as well as the structure of a sentence. So what we want to do in this problem is to bracket the sentences to kind of split everything up. So if you look at the first sentence compared to down here, time flies like an arrow, so an arrow would be bracketed because it's the main part of the sentence. But in this example, fruit flies would be bracketed first, and a banana, since they're both nouns, and then the like would be on the outside of it. Okay, sorry guys, I have no idea why my computer just like shut down. But I'll add a couple minutes to the end if you guys can still stay until then. So let's just continue the problem. Alright, so as I was saying, in the old man the boats, again, it's a verb, and then the old man is a noun. So notice that in addition, the word man participates differently in the structure of the sentences. So let's say it's the old man, the boats. Man is grouped with the boats since the old is manning the boats. So this would be a group, but in this one, it is the opposite. So each of the sentences have this kind of thing. So you really just want to put brackets on it to try to find an alternate continuation. So your word should always start with the first three words of the sentence, and in some cases, more words can be shared, so you can add some into it in some cases, and they should differ from the sentences in at least one word, and one word should at least be bracketed differently in the sentence. So you guys can start doing the problem, and I'll also send the link in the chat if you guys want to print out the PDF. Alright, so does anyone have an idea of what to do or an answer before I explain it? And there are also like a lot of possibilities for each question, so okay. So an example for the first one would be switching the ambiguity of the word train. So the old train the young, so in this case, train would be a verb because it's something that the old are teaching the young, and you would put brackets around here and then a separate bracket for training the young. And to change the ambiguity of training, it could be the old train broke down. So in this case, train would be a noun instead. And then the old train would be a subject, and then this would be a separate bracket. Okay, so the thief seized by the police turned out to be our cousin. You can again like change the word completely, except for the first three words that have to stay the same. So the thief seized by the police, and let's just add something. So we're gonna put brackets around the whole thing, and then we're gonna put the thieves into a separate bracket and then start a new one by seized. So in this one, seized would be a passive verb, and then you could also do the thief seized by the laptop, and it would be an active verb since the thief is doing that right now, like in this moment. So this would be also separated, but it's just a different kind of verb. So some other possibilities that you could have done were the thief seized by the police turned out to be our cousin, or the thief seized by the police turned traitor was our cousin. So again, turned is now the one that's changing, and everything else is staying the same. Okay, so number 3, I'm not going to read it out, but I'm going to read it. So you could do I convinced her children to do their homework, or I convinced her that children do their homework. So in the first one, her modifies children. I convinced the children, not her. And in I convinced the children to do their homework, I convinced her. Number 4, the man who whistles tunes piano. So you could keep it the first one like that, and then you could also do the man who whistles tunes also likes to sing. So the local ambiguity would be tunes, and tunes is a verb in the first one since the man is the one doing the tuning, and in the second one, when the man who whistles tunes, which is a noun, the tunes are being whistled. Okay, and lastly, number 5, you could do the cotton clothing is drying the sun, the doll is drying the sun, or the cotton clothing is made of is drying the sun. So in the first one, clothing is drying the sun. In the second one, the doll is drying in the sun. And in the third one, the clothing is drying in the sun. So clothing could be a modifier for cotton. So let me know if you have any questions because it's kind of confusing, but once you get the hang of like the first few ones, you should be able to do the rest as well. Okay. So let's take a look at the next problem. So below are 8 sentences in dime, and then these are their English translations. So all you need to do is translate the 8th sentence, and these were uttered by a linguist who had been trying to learn Dime, but only 3 of them were fully understood by native speakers. The other 3 were deemed incorrect, meaning they contained mistakes or were not understood at all. For each of the following 6 sentences, choose options to convert them to the grammatically correct Dime sentence. So this would be multiple choice, and then also explain the reason why you changed it. And just try to get through as many as you can in 15 minutes since we're a bit short on time. Okay. Okay, so I'll give you guys a few more hints about this language as well. So keep in mind that Dime has a subject, object, and then verb word order. So it's a little bit different than English. And also noun phrases have a noun first and then the adjective. For example, if you were to say the red bird, you would say the bird read, which is actually common in a lot of languages. And finally, verbs in first person usually end in T, but verbs in third person usually end in N. So if that helps you, you just want to look at that.
Is the willies of the reptiles supposed to be the language of the reptiles, or? Oh.
Yeah, that's just the name of the problem because down below there's some phrases that are related to it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the sentence you should have gotten for the eighth sentence was the tall woman carried a fearful sheaf. So we saw that this would probably be woman considering we know this is man and tall. So here we kind of have two clues already. And there's not really a word for the, but we can assume that they do use that since tall woman carried a fearful chief wouldn't really make sense. And you can also look at the apostrophes and the question marks. Um, so let me scroll down. So this language is basically speaking with the way that you pronounce your consonants. So consonants that have an apostrophe are pronounced really highly in your throat, and then unmarked ones have a low tone. So I will share the answers for the multiple choice ones and explain why, because I don't think I can type it on here. So give me one sec. Alright, so the first one was incorrect since the verb and the subject disagree. So let me get the original sentence up too. And you can open them on your PDF version. But the correct answer would be X, since coxswain would be cock-sit, and the translation in English would be I loved Black Eagle. The second one is correct. The third one is incorrect because even though the nouns do have suffixes, the adjective is present. So you would just have to fix this. For this problem, the multiple choice answer would be Y, and it would translate to the girl helped the black crocodile, and the sentence structure was just organized incorrectly. And then I believe the last two are correct. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the last problem. So in 1994, the students of a middle school math class in Alaska noticed that Arabic numerals from digits 0 to 9 were badly suited to counting in their language. They decided to come up with a new system that would reflect the Inupiaq number system. So these numerals, as shown below, made it easier for students to do math since they're so easy to remember, and each symbol has a relationship with the number it represents. So a few years ago, Alaska actually used these in their school system, and Canada wanted to use them too. So you might see some of these symbols. So what you have to do is fill in the blanks and fill in these words. Also, if you have to leave early, since I did get disconnected earlier, you can leave, but I'm gonna keep on teaching until about 6:30. Okay, so for A, you can actually write the symbol, write the word, I mean, instead of the symbol. So I'll write that in, but it's close. So if you figured it out, the equations should have been the first one was 4 minus 3 equaled 1. Then it was 2 times A was 8. So this is 4. 4 plus 8 equals 12. B minus 1 was 14. 20 minus 4 is 16. Yeah, so that's right. 56 divided by 7 is 8, and then 5 times C was 30. So I'm just going to write the words for now, but A is this, B looks kind of like that, and then this is C. So this would have been Injitsu. 11 is Qualitasic, and then 22 is kind of hard to figure out, but you would have had it to take the root of it and plug it into the problem. Alright, and then finally, this is 1, this is 5, and then this is 19. Alright, so that's going to be the end of class for these problems, but if you have any questions, just stay behind. And thank you guys so much for coming, and make sure to come again next week. Bye, have a great weekend.
Bye, thank you.